inside. Still got both my wrists tight. She wants all her wrist eyes. I see what her ends like. Me, you, and the bottle. Meet you at the bottom, other side of that bottle. She want more Moscato, yeah. I need more Picasso. Fuck your friends, that man's a bitch.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to a very exciting brand new video. Today I will be teaching you guys how to make a Fortnite montage, but this time it's on Filmora. Now, what Filmora is a video editing software that is very friendly for beginners. So unlike Premiere Pro, which there is a lot to learn and it is very complicated to a beginner editor, Filmora makes it really simple and basic to use the fundamentals of editing and get a really good quality product. So today that's what we will be doing. I will be teaching you guys how to make a montage in Filmora. Now, right before we get into the good stuff, I would like to ask you guys to please subscribe, turn that bell on, and click that like button. Alrighty guys, let's get right into this tutorial. Now guys, if you do not have Filmora, I highly recommend trying it out. The link will be in the description. To try it for completely free, all you have to do is click this download link, try it for free, and you will get the basic Filmora software. So without upgrading and paying money, you do actually get a lot of flexibility. You get to change things such as the speed of your clip, you get to edit, you get to add effects, you get to add transitions, and you do get to add music and a lot more. But if you do upgrade, these are the plans, and you guys can have a look at that for yourself. But today I'm going to be just using the free version and showing you guys what you can actually do with Filmora. Now, the first thing we want to do is obviously start up Filmora, so go ahead and do that. And the first thing you will see is new project or open project. So if you want to open a previous project, you can go ahead and choose from your project library. But today we'll be creating a new project. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this. Now, for the project aspect ratio, most of your clips will be 1080p, so that is just 16:9 widescreen. So we want to go ahead and choose that, but you actually have the Instagram format, portrait format, standard, and cinema format. But today we'll just be using widescreen. Now I'm going to go ahead and click new project. Once we select that, our workspace will appear. So as you can see, just like Premiere Pro and pretty much every other software, it's just the basic editing layout. So we've got the timeline down beneath, we've got the media preview up here, and we've got a project media up here. So this is where we can import our clips. Now I'm just going to quickly go over the main features Filmora has. So obviously we've got the audio library. Now this has a lot of audio and sound effects that you can choose from and download. And these are all obviously non-copyrighted. Now over here we have titles, so you can add a bunch of different texts and effects, as well as using your custom fonts. Now we have a bunch of different transitions you guys can choose from, so that's really cool. Now next on, moving to effects, we have a bunch of different really cool effects. So we've got the ripple effect, we've got Star Wars effect, we've got a strong glitch effect, we've got a cyberpunk effect, we've got a chromatic aberration effect, which I have actually showed in previous tutorials, and there is just so many effects you guys can choose from. Now moving on to elements, this is actually a really cool feature, and this has a bunch of different animations you can choose from. And there are some really cool glow animations, as you guys can see here, and I will be showing you guys how you can use that later on in this video. Now the last one is split screen, and you can essentially just put two videos in one frame. And we're not going to be using that too much today, I don't think, but that is pretty much all the main features right here. Okay guys, so now you've seen the basic layout of Filmora, it's time to start editing. So the first thing you need to do obviously is import all your clips. So I have gone ahead and done that already. All you need to do is drag and drop the files that you want to use. So whatever clips and music you want to use, drag and drop it right into the project media folder, and it should appear right here in your folder right there. Now to actually get these on the timeline, all we need to do is take our content and drag it down to the timeline. So when editing, I always like to put my music in first and then trim it to where I would like the song to start. So for me, I don't want this whole intro, so I'm gonna start the song closer to the beat drop, which is right here, I believe. Sorry.
My wrist tight, she wrist eyes. I see what her ends like. Me, you, and the.
So the beat drop's right here. I'm just gonna quickly mark that out. So to zoom in and out of your clip, if you hover over where the timestamps are, the cursor will change to a little arrow like this, double-sided arrow, and if you drag right, it will zoom in. If you drag left, it will zoom out. So you just have to hold and drag to the right or left. I'm going to be using my arrow keys to jump forward a little bit. Okay, right there is where the beat drop hits. And all I want to do, just like Premiere Pro to make a mark, is press M while the clip is selected. So right there, and as you can see, this little mark here has appeared. And that's how we're going to know where the beat drop is, so we can sync the clip later on. So I want my song to start right here. So I'm going to place my marker over where I want to trim the clip, select the clip, and go ahead and press the scissors icon right over here above our timeline. So make sure this is positioned where you want to split it, and go ahead and click that, and it will split the clip. I'm just going to select the first part that we don't want, right click, delete that one, and this will automatically bring it back to the start. So I've gone ahead and downloaded some cinematics that I wanted to use, and I've just imported them just like we imported our last clips. As you can see, we have a few cinematic shots of them just running in slow motion. So now what I'm going to do to get these on the timeline, I'm just going to drag and drop them right at the start of the timeline, and I'm just going to select Keep Project Settings. So I'm just going to go ahead and line these up. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop these all on my clip, and then we are going to start editing them. I don't actually want this one here, it takes up too much of the clip and I don't like how it looks, so I'm just going to go ahead and right click that and select delete up the top, and that will just get rid of the clip and move this clip back. And as you can hear, there's a beat drop right after the clip changes, just a little kick I think it was, and I basically just want to match the transition between the two clips to that beat drop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over the timestamps, and as you can see, my cursor will change to two little arrows. And what I want to do is, if I select down and move to the left, it will zoom out of my clip, and if I move to the right, it will zoom in. So what I want to do is just zoom into my clip so I can see this better. And now if I just go over my clip, I will find where this beat drop is, so right here I think. Yep, so right here, I'm just using my arrow keys to move around. So right here is where I want to move the transition between these two clips to. So what I'm going to do is just left click and drag to select both these clips, and then I'm going to move the middle of them to where my marker is. And as you can see, now it should change to the beat. Just like so. I'm just going to trim the song to the start of the video. So I will just position my marker right where I want to trim, and then I'm going to select these scissors right here. And as you can see, it will split my audio, and then I'll select the start and right click and then press delete. Now we can just zoom out of that one. And this is how it looks so far. Dead man on the inside still. And now I want this clip to end right here when I'm just going to go ahead and split my video right here. This is where I want it to end. So again, I'm just going to position my marker over the clip where I want it to split, and then select these scissors, and as you can see, it will trim it. And then I'll just get rid of this clip that I don't want. Now I really like how this start looks. The next thing I'm going to do is add text over the top of this video. So to do that, all I'm going to do is go to the titles tab like I showed before, and as you can see, we have all these different titles. Now as you can see right next to the included folder, it says we have 276 different titles. And that is just a crazy amount for the free version of Filmora, which I think is really great. They're actually giving you so much options for such a low price. And if you go down here, we can go to custom, openers, titles, lower thirds, subtitles, end credits, new concepts, and all different categories of titles. I'm just going to go with default title for this video, but you guys can play around and have a look at what titles you want. But I'm just going to be using the default title right now. So what I want to do is just drag and drop it on the timeline above our clips, just like so. And as you can see, it will appear over our text. Now I'm just going to hover over the very right side of this layer, and I'm going to select it and drag to the end of my clip so it covers the whole video. Now to edit the text settings, all I want to do is click on my title up over here, and as we can see, we have title, group controller, position, scale. If I double click it over here where the media project was, more title settings will appear. So as you can see, we have a bunch of preset text styles with different glow effects and all of this jazz. If you just double click it, it will apply to your text. I'm just going to go with original style for now. And as you can see over here, we have different fonts we can select from, and we can edit our text in this text box here. We can also change the size over here, bold, italicize it, or change the positioning. Now down here in settings, we have text color, text space, line space, alignment. Then we also have transform, so this will be things like keyframing, I believe. And then we also have compositioning, which will have our blending mode and opacity. So it's pretty basic stuff right here. What I'm going to do is just quickly change my text. I'm just going to be changing my text to the name of the song and the artist, so just like so. I'm going to go ahead and select the center positioning. And then I'm also going to highlight the A Fortnite Montage part of the text, and then I'm going to change the text for that one individually, maybe to 64. I'm going to change that to 40. And I think that looks really cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and change my font to Pantone Black Italic Caps. That's the font I always go with. It's probably my favorite font. You can actually use any custom font if you would like. As long as it's installed on your computer, it will appear here in the software and you can just search for it. So now I've changed my font. I think what I'm going to do is add a bit of a stroke, just like so. So text style 2 is actually what we would call a stroke, which is essentially where it outlines the text with another color. Now that we've done that, make sure you go ahead and press Control Save, like always, to make sure your project is saved, just in case it crashes or something happens to it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and press OK on all of that. Now that we've got the intro to our montage sorted, what we want to do now is add our clips and sync them up to the beats of the song. So to do this, all we want to do is go ahead and find the clip that we want to start with. I'm going to use this one. All you need to do is double click on the clip that you want, and it will appear over here in the media preview. Now I'm just going to go ahead and use this slider to find where my clip is. So right here is where I start to make the play. So maybe we want it right here. So I want my clip to start right here. I'm going to go ahead and press I to make a bracket. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag this to where I get the kill. So maybe right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and press O for an out bracket. And as you can see, we have a bracket around the clip now. And what we can do is just click anywhere in this screen and drag it onto our timeline. So as you can see, this is the raw clip right here.
Still got both my wrists tied. She wants all her.
And it's kind of offbeat and it is not synced at all. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is again just zoom in on my clip so I can see where I get the kill. Bit easier. Go over here. And what I'm going to do is just find right here, I believe, is where I shoot the gun and get the kill. Right where I shoot. Just use the arrow keys to find this. Right where I shoot. So right here, as you can see, the animation starts to happen. I'm going to make another marker. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the clip and then press M right there. And as you can see, it will make a marker right there. Now go ahead and line these markers up as best you can. So right here, as you can see, now let's go ahead and see what this looks like. And that looks a lot better than what it was before. Now, as you can see, we have a blank space now between these two clips. Just to fill this up, what I'm going to do is take another section of this clip, so maybe right here. I'm just going to take another section of this clip to add between. So like so. And I'm just going to add this between.
On the inside, still got both my wrists tight. She wants all her wrist ice. I see what her ends like. Me, you, and the bottle.
Now that we've synced this up to the clip, what I want to do is add some slow motion right after I get the kill. So as you can see, I get the kill right here. And kind of as he starts to die right here, I think I'm going to split the clip. Now, another way you can actually split the clip is by selecting the scissors right here on the playhead. It is a lot easier. I just actually discovered this. So to split the clip right here, I'm just going to go ahead and select that. And as you can see, it will split this clip. Now for this clip, I just want to change the speed. So to do that, I'm going to make sure it's selected. Go over here to the speed icon, select that, and select slow, and then maybe 0.5. And we'll see what this looks like.
Her ends like me, you, and the bottle.
And that is really smooth. So Filmora actually has really good slow motion. I find that it's never really choppy, and for some reason, even though I've added slow motion, normally that would be choppy and I would have to render it. But what Filmora does is it automatically renders the clip so that you can play it back almost instantly. Okay, so I have gone ahead and synced up all my clips to the song and added some slow motion, and I'll show you what we have now.
That man on the inside, still got both my wrists tight. She wants all her wrist ice. I see what her ends like. Me, you, and the bottle. Meet you at the bottom, other side of that bottle. She want more Moscato, yeah. I need more Picasso.
So for each clip, I've obviously synced it up to the song like I've showed you. And for this clip, I've had it just as soon as I get the kill, I have some slow motion. And then for this next clip, I have it basically normal speed until I pull my gun out right here. So if I zoom in on this, you'll see that this clip right here is slow mode. So it goes normal, slow motion, and then fast motion when I get the clip, and then right after slow motion again. And then for the next clip, it is pretty much the same. Another cool thing I noticed while editing this is if you just right click anywhere on the timeline and move your mouse around, you can just scroll back and forth, which is pretty cool, I think. So if I just zoom out over here, it's pretty much the same thing, just my normal clip with slow motion at the end. So now we've synced our clips and added slow motion. Now it's time for transitions and effects. Now the first thing we'll be adding is transitions. So to get transitions, all you want to do is go to the transitions tab, and here we are with a whole library of different transitions. Now I found a few cool transitions that I like, such as this one called box flip. And if you basically double click the transition, it will preview it for you on the screen. I think this looks really cool. So all I want to do to apply this is drag and drop it over our clip. So if we drop it between these two clips, as you can see, the little box will go between both these clips, and that is what we want to do. So I'll just let go of that. And now we can see this is what it looks like.
That man on the inside.
Now that transition is pretty cool, but it lasts a bit longer than I would like it to. So all I want to do to shorten it is hover over the edge of our little transition icon and drag inwards to make it shorter.
On the inside.
And now it's a bit faster, which I really like. Now the second transition I'm going to use is this one called Orb 2. As you can see, this looks really cool. You've got Orb 1, which basically just goes the other way. but I think Orb 2 looks really cool, so I'm going to drag that over my clip. And again, I think I'm just going to make this a little shorter, just like so. See how this looks. That looks really cool. Now for transitions, I don't like to use a transition every time I change clips, otherwise they get a bit too repetitive, unless you can make it look really clean. But for the next clip change, I'm not going to add any transition, but then for the one after that, I will add another transition. Now for this next one, I'm going to use fisheye roll, which is kind of like a diagonal slide transition. So I'm just going to add that between these two clips, and then again, I'm going to shorten it a little bit. And that looks really nice. Now, as you can see, under the included tab, you have all these different categories for transitions. So I'm going to go into 3D and fisheye, and I find these fisheye ones are really cool. So for the very last transition to where it just goes to black, I'm going to use fisheye roll 6, and I'm going to make that a bit shorter. I need more Picasso, fuck your friend. And as you can see, it looks really cool. Now that we've got our intro with text, we've got our clips synced up to the music with slow motion, and then we've also got our transition. One of the last steps we need to do is add some effects. So if you go over next to the transitions tab, we've got the effects tab. If you go over there, we'll see all these different effects. Along with these effects, we'll be using elements as well, which are a bunch of cool little animations you can implement into your video, and I'll show you guys how to use those a bit later on. Now in Filmora, I don't think there's any way to make an adjustment layer. If there is, my bad. I haven't found any specific way on how to make an adjustment layer, and if there isn't, Filmora, next update, adjustment layers would be a great touch. But I'm just going to improvise. So for this Chromatic Aberration effect that I found just in effects under included, this looks like a really cool effect that I want to add into my intro. So there's a section of the song that kind of has a different vibe, and I kind of want the glitch effect to happen between those beats, if that makes sense. So sort of from here to there, if that makes sense. So from this beat here, so right here on the intro, I want to have this Chromatic Aberration, and to add effect, you just drag and drop onto the clip that you want. So as you can see, that is what it looks like. And then again, I'm going to have that repeat right here. So let's see what this looks like. And I think that looks really cool. So you guys can definitely mess around with that and see what looks good. But moving on to the kill effects. Okay guys, so now we have applied that glitch effect, we are going to be moving on to the kill effects. So the first kill effect is the pretty standard one I've showed you in previous tutorials, which is the exposure effect. Now in Filmora, we don't actually get to edit our exposure separately, but there is a way we can do this. So if you are in your media tab and you go down to sample colors, we have all these different gradients and colors. And as you can see right here, we have white. Go ahead and drag that over your clip, and we have this covering pretty much the whole kill. Now to actually turn this into an effect, go ahead and double click your layer. Then go ahead to compositing and click that drop down, and then change the blending mode to overlay. Right, I had it right there. And as you can see, now this will change it to pretty much exactly what looks like our exposure effect. Now what you want to go ahead and do is change the tab to animation up here. And as you can see, we have our keyframing now. So the first keyframe we want to make is the middle one, which is where our exposure will be very bright, which will be 100% opacity. As you can see, if we edit the opacity, it will be less bright and brighter the more it is. So go ahead and make sure you're over your marker where you get the kill and where you want this to be. And then go ahead and click add. And as you can see down here, we'll have this little green circle now, and that is a keyframe. right to where we want the build up of our kill to start, add another keyframe, and I'm just going to trim the clip right to this keyframe, drag this back in place. Now I'm going to go back to that middle keyframe, and I'm going to go forward just a bit, and see, maybe right here is where I want this effect to end. I'm just going to shorten my clip to that, and then click add again to make another keyframe. Now we have these 3 keyframes. Go ahead and go back to that first keyframe. I'm just going to zoom in on this so it's easier to see. When we're over a keyframe, instead of having this as add, this will be delete, so that just will make sure you're over the keyframe. See, if I go forward 1 frame, I'm not over the keyframe. If I go back, I'm over this keyframe. So what we want to do here, now we're over this first keyframe, is go ahead and change the opacity to 0. Now again, we're going to go to this last keyframe and do the same over here and change the opacity to 0. Now what we have is this cool exposure effect. Now if we want to repeat this effect anywhere in this video, what we can do is we can press Ctrl C or right click this white overlay and select copy, and then we can go ahead and paste it anywhere on our timeline. Okay, now we have created that effect. The next thing I want to show you guys is the elements. These are all these cool animations that you can choose from. In particular, the one that we're going to be using is these energy and glow effects. So as you can see right here, we have this cool little glow effect. Just double click the animation to preview it. We've got this one. We've got a lot of different cool animations we can choose from. Now the thing I love about this is not many editing softwares give you this option. Apart from After Effects, which you would have to make all these effects by yourself, but these ones come preset and they're actually really easy to use. So I'm just going to show you guys how to use them in your clip. The one I'm going to be using as an example is Blue Energy 2. You guys can use any, they all work the same. It's essentially just like an effect. You just drag it and you drop it over your clip. So on top of your clip that you want it on. And as you can see, now we've got this.
Like me, you and the bottom.
Now that already looks really cool, but what I want this to do is kind of aura around my character. So I can actually reposition and resize this animation if I just double click it on the preview menu, and this box will show. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it down here, and I'm going to size the box to my character. Just like so. A little smaller, and then I'm going to make it just like that. And let's see what this looks like.
Like me, you and the bottom.
And I think that looks really cool. And it was literally that simple. It took me 5 seconds to add to my clip, which is what I love about Filmora. Now I've gone ahead and added another animation over here, as you can see, and this is what it looks like.
You at the bottom.
And I've pretty much just positioned this around my character so it finishes around the character. Now the next effect I'm going to be showing you guys is under filters and in the shake category. And I will be using Chaos 2, but Filmora actually gives you 8 different shake effects, which you can all use in really creative ways. I'm going to be using Chaos 2, which is my personal favorite. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to be adding it onto this clip right here. So I've got my kill marked out. All I'm going to do is drag this down, and this is what it will look like over the clip. Obviously that is a lot of shaking that would give someone a headache watching, so what I'm going to do is just shorten it quite a bit, so maybe that much, and we'll see what this looks like. And that looks really nice. And there we have it, guys. That is pretty much it for this tutorial. The last thing we have left to do is, obviously we've got this transition out, but we want the music to fade out nicely at the end of your video. So all I'm gonna do is just trim the song where I want. So
Your friends, that man's a bitch. That man's a bitch.
So maybe right here I'm gonna select my clip and trim that, get rid of the excess. And now to fade the song out, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and double click my music layer, and this should appear. And as we can see, we have fade in and fade out. Now for fade out, I'm just going to slide that up slightly so it will fade out As you can see, we've kind of got this little triangular shadow that comes down and indicates that it is fading out. So it kind of starts over here where my clip ends, and it will fade out to eventually nothing. So let's see what this sounds like. And that sounds really good. So that will conclude the editing process for this video. We have successfully made a montage with an exposure effect. We've got our cool shake effect, and then we've got some amazing animations that Filmora includes. And that concludes the editing process for this video. So I just want to give a huge thank you to Filmora for sponsoring this video, and I honestly do recommend using this software for beginners or even advanced editors. This just makes your editing process so much quicker with all the presets. Along with everything else, it is just so basic and simple to use, and I just found it really easy. This is literally the first montage I've made in this software, and it came out looking pretty good. So the last thing you'll need to do is go ahead and press export. You press that button and it will take you to the export settings. But thank you so much guys for watching this video. The link to Filmora will be in the description so you guys can download it and try it yourself. I highly recommend it. If you did enjoy this video or find it helpful, please hit that subscribe and hit that like button. That would mean a lot. Thanks again guys for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video.